views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Welcome to the Bronx Opera on BronxNet. I'm Bronx Opera's General Director, Ben Spearman. You're about to watch a production from Bronx Opera's 2013-2014 season, Kirk Mechem's 2001 opera, The Rivals. This opera is loosely based on Richard Brinsley Sheridan's 1775 play, also called The Rivals. Mechem updated the action to Newport, Rhode Island in the early 20th century and changed some of the characters, but he kept Sheridan's most famous creation, Mrs. Malaprop, who never met a word she couldn't change into another word that makes no sense. We'll get into a lot of what Mechem did with Sheridan's play and talk to Kirk about his life as a composer when we talk with Mr. Mechem in intermission. But now, however, we'll take a look at our terrific cast. Soprano Lindsay Ose, baritone Patrick McNally, mezzo Julie DeVere Byrne, mezzo Kabiria Jacobson, tenor Blake Friedman, soprano Allison Herman, bass baritone Brad Barron, tenor Chad Seigan, and bass C. David Morrow. I had the pleasure of directing this production, conducted by Michael Spearman, with scenery by Scott Aronow, costumes by Meg Zeter, lighting by G. Benjamin Swope, and production management by Scott H. Snyder. Welcome to January 12th, 2014, and our performance of Kirk Mechem's The Rivals.
Stop this childish display. I'll run away. I'll marry the man I please. You'll conjugate the man I see. Just for he's every I hate rich men. marry against your will, I lose my first inheritance. Good. I'd rather marry a kangaroo than any man who pleases you. Intricate little hussy, not one word more. You see, answer the door. not in such a mess. When someone really cares for him, he's scared it's just a slip and just a way to share his bank account. He's all wrapped up in himself. It takes two to see what I know that's Lydia, but when I'm with him, I forget. He's so handsome, he's so dear. Just a glance can make me feel. When he's near, my love's so clear. I can't remember when he neglected me, suspected me, corrected me, rejected me. Why? His presence is affecting me, and all my heart always dies away. Why can't I just try for once protecting me by recollecting all his many He's so manly, he's so mad. When his hands in mine like hands, when my heart's the way he temporized and tyrannized and criticized and terrorized. Why? And his words are hypnotizing me with wit, impulsiveness, and pride and show. Why? Try to be a wiser me. What can't I be? By recollecting all his many flaws. His many flaws. A car's coming, miss. You'd better go into your room now. Brings you out this way.
My horse is mad. They're racing today. And as you know, my son's career has brought him here from Virginia to serve the table and to serve. And how is your charming niece?
Simply appalling, sir. Not a moment's peace with her. Mighty as a flock of geese.
That comes from too much opera.
I've tried my best to stop her. Now the deliberate simpleton wants to marry a worthless pauper.
Later, my love, tell her that she must forget the man. Don't be so kind.
That's exactly what I did. Lydia, I said, you must illiterate this man from your mind.
That's the way. Girls today read too much and think too much.
Surely now you speak laconically, sir. The right sort of learning, indeed.
I admire the way you speak. Your use of words is truly unique.
Now about Lydia and your son, Captain Jack Absolute.
No objection to my son. So you encourage the suit.
Although I know him only by repute, as your intimate son, the head of the bond, a brilliant catch.
And your niece, your prior commitments.
Jasper Vanderbilt has had my backing, but Lydia hates the boy. Well, let her. I'll send him packing. I'll hope your son fares better. He won't object, I trust.
Jack! Object? Let him object if he dares. I taught my son that the wheeling to obey all the orders laid down by his dad. I taught my lad to obey his dad. And so he learned how to watch for my food. He paid me no heed, I would knock him right down. He'd heed my frown, or I'd knock him right down. I'm always calm and trust, gentle and fair, moderate and just, kindly, docile, tender and kind. But there are some the worst is a child who will not obey. The worst is a child who will not obey. Let him pray. Let him pray. Let him pray. But mark what I say. Mark what I say. There will be This is the
you know what a secret is. Oh, yes, Mum. Very well. Then this is for being discreet. Thank you, Mum. But Lucy, no gossip, no deceit. If I should be betrayed by publicity, you'll not be excused because of your simplicity. Yes, Mum. Simplicity
too soon that I'm rich, and finds out I'm not an estate. Pitch me into the street. I have tied myself in knots for her. I have tried to dance galops for her. Tie myself in knots for her, using as a great artiste. Singing applause, la 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 la. Knowing nothing, not the least, knowing nothing, not the least, how to be a troubadour. My serenades have all been played. This troubadour is such a bore. I can't keep up this masquerade. My heart is like you. You could lose and try again. But to lose my dear would be the end. She loves you, Nick. But how do I know she loves me for myself? And is she really serious? All this smiling and laughing and singing. Oh, what a crime. You should try it sometime. Why worry if she's happy? When she's gone, every moment she's not here, I feel the worst. Does her love always shine should tell you, Julia's here in Newport now, and wants to see you.
What?
But first I want you to meet a friend of mine from Kentucky. Julia stayed with his family. Howdy, Jack. This is where I'm supposed to meet. It is believe Nicholas Jasper Vanderbilt. Jasper's fallen for Lydia Lordsburg, but he's shy. How are you doing with Lydia? Oh, it's Sam Waverly guy. Now tell Nick about Julia. He's dying to hear it.
I trust your spirits. I had heard she was slightly indisposed. You see, Jack, it's not as I supposed. This cuts me to the quick.
So now you're sad. Julia's not been sick.
That's right. But you'd think she'd miss me just a bit.
What's wrong with this fella? He's just so happy, Julia's so well. Take it easy, Nick. Well, I can tell you, believe me, that girl was never sick.
You see, Jack, such frivolity in them all. Have I been the life of the party?
You certainly have not.
Have I been blooming like a weed?
Oh, indeed.
Full of humor and wit?
Not a bit. But I'm glad that you rejoice at Julia's health. And what a thought!
Never constant, never. Turn your back and off they go.
Should she stay at home and sew?
They will find some gigolo.
Should she only sing Kuno?
And they will cast you off like someone born of
And
shoe.
what's meant to say that girl's a wicked shrew?
Oh, it's a sorry sight.
A very sorry sight. A sorry sight to see what jealousy can do.
That a woman's will never sing in concert with you, never.
Please, this little filly, I'll be to do. At your service, sir. While I'm alive, I want to see my boy cut a real figure in the world. So I've resolved to give you a large estate. You
quit the Navy. That will be up to your wife. My wife?
Yes, the wife. Didn't I mention her?
Not a word, sir.
Are you sure?
Not that I heard, sir.
Well, we can't forget her. Yes, Jack, the great estate of which I spoke is saddled with no wife.
Is this a joke?
Not on your life. What's the matter? Don't stand there like a rock.
Excuse me, sir. This is quite a shock.
If you take the estate, you take its livestock.
May I ask the lady's name?
What's that to you? All you have to do is marry her at once.
But, sir, I'm already promised to another.
Don't be a dunce. Forget her. If worst comes to worst, tell her business comes first. And that your business is to obey.
I'm sorry, sir. My heart is not free.
Beware. Don't put me.
But how can I be engaged to some ugly, overaged monstrosity I've never seen?
She'll be as ugly as I chose.
All right, Father. What would you have me do?
Do everything exactly as I say. I'll give you till 5 o'clock today to come around. If you don't, you'll never see another crown. And damn me if I ever call you son again.
Dear Father, mildest of men. Lucy! What news from Lydia?
No letter, sir.
No, not for Waverly.
I don't think so.
I think so. You can't be Jasper.
Oh no, sir, he's a total flop. He's been dropped by malaprop.
Then who is Waverly's potent rival?
He's very handsome.
And does Lydia think he's handsome?
Oh yes, she's quite swept off her feet.
What? You mean this is serious?
It surely will be serious when the two of them finally meet.
Lucy, explain if you can how she can think he's handsome if she's never met the man.
Yes, sir, that is rather hard to explain.
Well, try, Lucy.
Well, sir, you should know that your dad and Lydia's aunt have agreed on this new vow.
No! It's Lydia my father wants me to marry.
That's right, you are your own rival.
Oh, Lord, my father, I refused him. What have I done? I've got to find him now and play the penitent son.
Look at him run. Ah, love, a never-ending source of profit and fun. Here comes another one, Baron. Baron from Mechem.
Lucy, you have Sir, female punctuation forbids me to fully express the infallible joy of your affliction for me. What lovely language! Your mistress is queen of the dictionary.
She is a very experienced talker, sir.
Experienced and only 18 years old.
She reads, sir, every book that's sight.
As to the time and propinquity of a rendezvous, please inform the bearer of this note. I didn't want to meet her quite so soon. Well, tomorrow afternoon, then I will give you my reply.
Simplicity, I guarantee, will make a millionaire
Please, Father, I implore you. You see a penitent before you.
I see an impudent scoundrel.
I made a grave mistake.
And why this sudden change?
You say I won't forsake your good advice.
Very strange.
And I will make this sacrifice. However immense the expense.
Now you're talking sense.
Thank you, sir. Now about that wife.
You'll marry her.
Any time, sir. Just say the word.
That's my boy. All right, Jack. Now I'll tell you the lady's name. What do you think of Lydia Luck? Spur? Well,
I'm quite in the dark, sir. I don't believe we've ever met.
the girl's a raving beauty.
That's all the same to me, sir. I'll do my filial duty.
You never met Mrs. Malaprop. This is her niece.
Malaprop. Larkspur. Oh, yes, I think I do remember, sir. Little cross-eyed girl, bright red curls.
Nonsense! Caught his hair, oil up his finger, everything a man could want.
Well, and which is to be mine, sir? The niece or the aunt?
What the devil's wrong with you? Now Mrs. Malaprop's expecting you. You'll be there within the hour.
Yes, father. I'll sacrifice myself.
Nicholas, it's been so long.
Yes, Julia, I hope you've been well. Days of play, nights of song.
Nick, what's wrong? You seem so calm.
I must admit, my joy was cooled by something I was told.
And what was that?
Well, I heard from your Vanderbilt friend. You enjoyed my absence no end.
He's so sappy.
Well, at least you might pretend to be unhappy.
But love is joyful, Nick.
Julia, when you sang with such glee, say it was me who were thinking of you.
Always be love. I'm so grateful for you.
Such a platitude, your gratitude is not what I need to hear.
For what quality should I love you, dear?
No quality at all, that would be only esteem. I wish I were ugly. Then I'd be sure your love for me is pure.
That's not very mature. If nature really that's not the reason for my choice. I have been searching for answers to.
Julia, Julia, that won't do. If you love me as you declare, you would think my looks beyond compare.
I seem determined to quarrel.
Julia, tell me the truth. Are you sorry that you're engaged? Are you still attracted to me?
This ring is not his own. I love you as much as
So eager to be free.
you are your own worst enemy. I will not care
She locked the door. I hear her sobbing. I'm such a brute. No, she's still right there, just like a woman, so irresolute. No steadiness at all. No, she's not coming. She's not in the hall. This is not steadiness. This is obstinate. It's a ball. Well, if she thinks that I'll come crawling back or knocking at her windowsill, huh? Good idea. I think I will. shocked.
Read it, sir. It's from that no-good Waverley.
Tender indeed. I'm told I have a rival.
That you, sir.
As for the old weather-beaten she-dragon, oh, Cartier, who can he mean by that?
Me, sir. He means me.
The impudent brat.
Pray, continue, sir.
Let me see. Old weather-beaten she-dragon.
You needn't read it again.
I beg your pardon, ma'am. I'll devise a scene in which the grammar queen will give me her consent and be a go-between. Does he mean some kind of plot?
Yes, a plot to elope. Must be put into this door. And the whole thing among us. We'll see. Not best.
Here's what I suggest. Let them think you've been deceived. But when they start to leave, we'll interrupt their plot. I'll have the beggar caught. I will carry Lydia off.
Brilliant, Captain. Yes, yes. We'll see. Plot best.
Now please allow me to put the girl to a test. May I see her now?
Oh, I doubt that she is ready yet at all.
I think she'll come. Just tell her that her darling Waverley has come to call. Just a trick to get the girl to come.
A trick she well deserves. I hope that Lydia. But I'll not mention this Waverley, sir. She must know it's Captain Absolute who's come to wait on her. There's the silly snob. She's fobbing off on me. How different from my Waverley. Oh my, I guess he's shy. I'll cough. Twice. If he won't break the ice, I guess I should. But I'm so
At your service, ma'am. Hush, hush.
Are you crazy?
Be quiet. I fooled your aunt with this uniform. She thinks I'm Captain Absolute. I heard that he was coming here, so I got some friends to keep him away.
And Auntie believed you?
Listen. We've got to make a plan to get away. Just name the hour, just name the day.
Really forsake my fortune, really forsake my dowry, everything from me.
But what will I say when a lady finds I'm a fraud? She'll bury me under the sod.
Whatever you say, I never talk back.
I feel like a man laid out on the rack. I can't go ahead, I cannot go back.
What a secret!
Jack, what a master attack! Never so clever a counterfeit! But how will I ever get out of it?
Why, while I get my way, disobey your practice.
We love to hear the
Welcome back after Act 1 of The Rivals. We're really lucky to be able to have a conversation with the first two words in Kirk Mechem's The Rivals, with the man himself, Kirk Mechem. Kirk, it's great to have you here, and it's great to have a chance to talk to you.
My pleasure.
First of all, I wanted to just get a little bit of a background of you, because people may not know enough about you, which is, so my first question is, I guess, was music something you were interested in as a high schooler and college age person, or was it something you came to a little bit later?
Well, I'm what they call a late bloomer. Although I had music in my house all the time because my mother was a concert pianist. So I went to sleep every night listening to whatever she was playing, Chopin or Beethoven or Brahms or whatever. And she did give me piano lessons for a while, but I was really more interested in sports. So that it kind of took a back seat for a while until I got interested in pop music, and I started playing those things just by ear. And then I started writing music, terrible songs, but that's the way I got started.
We'll come back to that when we get into talking about the rivals. But which sports in particular were you real interested in?
Well, all of them when I was very young. You know, I loved football, I loved baseball, I loved anything. But pretty soon I could see that the other kids were getting muscles and I was just growing taller. So I stuck with basketball and tennis. And then I had somebody hit me on my bicycle. A car hit me and I was out of basketball season one season. And so I just stuck to tennis, and that was my sport through college.
There's a great story that was one of the first things I learned about you, and your very unique connection. You are a very unique connection between two tennis greats, Bill Tilden and Billie Jean King. Would you just tell us that story
Well,
real quickly? Really quickly.
That's kind of hard for people to believe. Although nowadays there aren't many people who ever heard of Bill Tilden, but he was the greatest player of the 1920s.
He was sort of a Sampras, or
oh yeah, even more
than Sampras in
more
his day.
Federer. That is
Federer, right?
I can remember somebody asked a tennis coach, prominent tennis coach, if he thought that Tilden could have beaten the present day people like at that time was Kramer or Pancho Gonzalez, and he said if Tilden didn't have the shot to beat him, he would have invented it. And so he was great. But when he was finished as an active player, he went around coaching and giving clinics in different cities. Well, he came to Topeka, Kansas, where I grew up, and every place he went, he needed to have a young player that he
Right.
could have, hit balls with back. So I was the guy in Topeka, and I hit back and forth with him. So I can say that I'm probably the only person on the planet who has played tennis with both Bill Tilden and Billie Jean King, because I knew Billie Jean. I grew up. I mean, her doubles partner was Rosie Casals. And just when she was a kid, 17, getting ready to go east for the tournaments, I played with her all the time. And so when Billie Jean came out here once and they wanted a doubles partner, they asked me to do that. So I played with Billie Jean King.
And hence a historical connection.
Yes, there is a historical connection.
Did you feel? Do you feel that your interest in and your activity in sports is connected to your work as a composer in terms of preparation, or in any other sense that you could think of?
Well, it would be very indirect, but yes, I do think there are a lot of connections between sports and music. One obvious one is the intense concentration that each one takes. You can't either. I mean, I played sports not just for the fun of it, but I also played tournaments every summer, one city to another, and I won a number of state championships. But so I was serious about it, and to be serious about anything, you have to just give your whole self to it. And there's also a dramatic involvement often about a tennis match or a football game or basketball game. it's there's something dramatic about it. You know,
Yeah.
it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has climaxes. It has different points like that, as opera does. So I do see a connection.
There certainly is that sense of drama, and as you say, there is a flow to it, and an ebb and flow to a game or a match of sports that we hope an opera has. So you did, when you started to compose, you I think primarily composed choral music. Am I correct in that? Vocal music.
Yeah, I first composed without knowing what I was doing. I've never seen a harmony book, never taken a class. This was when I was in high school and I was interested in pop music, and I was just playing that stuff by ear and then writing songs without really knowing what I was doing, and having to learn how to write them down. So I wrote all kinds of so-called popular songs, but none of them were at all popular. And when I was in the Army, after the war was over, I got put into special services to write songs for USO shows. I wrote a musical comedy, but I've still never seen a harmony book. I was an English major at Stanford and after the war as an undergraduate. But then I finally decided, I saw that there was a course in the music department given called harmony. I had no idea what that was, but I took it. And the teacher was the choral director, and he made anybody in his courses sing in the chorus. And I'd never done that before, and it just bowled me over. It was fantastic. I would hear all these different voices coming on the different notes of the chord, and they were all beautiful melodies. And it was Handel, and it was just fantastic. And that got me very interested in choral music. And I just, the man who was the choral director became my lifelong mentor and friend and boss. He hired me then later to be a choral director. And so that's how that got started. He sent me to Harvard to study with Randall Thompson and Walter Piston. And Walter Thompson was one of the great choral composer, so I learned a lot from him. And so my earliest pieces that were published were choral.
So, but you'd written that early musical comedy in the Army, right? But you hadn't really. Has that ever been performed elsewhere?
What, the
musical comedy you wrote?
Oh no, I don't ever want. I also wrote one. I also wrote one at Stanford, and that also was never produced. And I can see why now.
So you came to writing opera a little bit later. Your first opera was Tartuffe, which hopefully we'll be able to get to, which Bronx Opera produced. I think it was in 1994. And I hope we're able to show this at some point through BronxNet. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what came after Tartuffe. Tartuffe's obviously a classic comedy, one of the great, really, comic plays ever written, Molière's Tartuffe. What happened? And that's been performed an incredible amount all over the world. I mean, would that be an accurate statement? Tartuffe.
Yeah, it's well over 400 performances now. It's going to be done. It's been done in 6 countries, including China and Russia. It's going to be done next year in Sweden.
Marvelous.
Yeah,
it's a marvelous piece. It's
going to be the 400th anniversary of Molière's birth next year.
Right. So it'll get a good amount of play. After, now, obviously, you started your operatic compositional career with a comedy, and I read a couple places that people said to you that comedy was hard, and your response was something like, "It is. I didn't know that."
Yeah.
So, but after Tartuffe, what came next for you, operatic?
A completely different opera on John Brown, the abolitionist.
So not a comedy at all.
Yeah, it took me a long time to write it, but I grew up in Kansas. My father was a state historian. He had written a play on John Brown, which won Maxwell Anderson Award for verse drama, put on NBC. And so that was a natural for me to do, although my opera is very different from his play. Frederick Douglass is one of the chief characters, and it has a number of arias for him. But that took a long time and was finally, the premiere was in Lyric Opera, Kansas City. And then I think it was time for a little comic relief after 10 or 15 years of John Brown. So that's when I started looking for a subject for another comic opera. And
why in particular did you pick the Sheridan play?
Well, I looked everywhere I could. I wanted to find something American. And I looked at I don't know how many things, and I never found anything that I thought would make a really good opera. Opera, I think that's very underestimated. People nowadays, they're making operas out of all kinds of things, and most of them are flops just because they didn't pick something that really anybody could make into a good opera. You have to have, first of all, some wonderful characters, and they have to be different. You have to have a lot of variety in your characters. Otherwise, you don't want your music to sound all the same. You want to have these different people have different types of music. And so I finally I started, when I couldn't find anything American, I started looking at some of the British comedies. And what is often said is the greatest British comedy ever written is by Sheridan, and it's called The Rivals. And I looked at that and I thought, my God, that's exactly what I want. But it wasn't American, and it was also very old-fashioned in the way it starts. I have that play here, the original play. Let me just read you the first couple of lines. It's like so many plays in that day. It starts with two servants talking to each other. You wouldn't think of doing that today, but one of them says, "Oh, what, Thomas, sir? What's up, Thomas? Hey, old Mr. Fagg, give me your hand, old man. Excuse my glove." This kind of stuff doesn't play at all, especially with an opera. So I decided to make it an American setting. And picked a place which was as close as possible to what the original was. The original in England is in Bath, England.
Right.
And it was the place where rich commoners would meet with poor noblemen. And often they would form marriages. Actually, that's the way Winston Churchill's mother, she was American.
Right, Jenny Jerome, who's connected to the Bronx because her father, Leonard Jerome, owned a lot of land in the Bronx. And those of you who are watching on BronxNet, the Jerome Park Reservoir and Lehman College, where this performance was taped, were actually part of land owned by Leonard Jerome, who was Jenny Jerome's father. So there's it's actually a very interesting Bronx connection to Jenny Jerome and thereby Winston Churchill. But yeah, the reservoir, Lehman College, Bronx Science, all this land sort of around the Northwest Bronx was owned by Leonard Jerome. But yeah, so Jenny Jerome's actually a good example of the kind of character who would very much have been in the world of The Rivals.
Well,
in your setting.
The American place, which would correspond to Bath, England at that time, was Newport, Rhode Island. That was a place where the rich had their cottages, their 80-room cottages, and where people went for the horses, races, polo, sailing, and that's where the very first the United States, the first tennis championship was played.
Right. Yeah. And the Rivals, and this will be after Act One of the Rivals, but we won't have seen this yet. But it may be the only opera that has a tennis court as a setting.
Yeah.
I don't know of another one, and
I don't either.
yeah,
And one of the I made.
You got tennis in there.
As a tennis player, I had to have one of the scenes opens with the sound of bouncing tennis balls.
Right. And our tenor in this performance, Blake Friedman, took great pride in his serving form. So it was a very important part of that rehearsal process.
Yeah.
And in our storage, there is still the rolled up net and tennis, kind of basic tennis court. So it remains in our stock.
Okay, good.
So
a lot of the characters had to be changed.
Right. I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Malaprop pretty much remains Mrs. Malaprop.
Absolutely. If you can't top her.
No, she's such a unique and funny character, and of course her name has become a word in the English language, and malapropisms and malaprop. It's
right.
So I know it was premiered in Milwaukee at Skylight Opera Theater in Milwaukee, and I think we gave the second production of it. I'm not sure.
Yes, you did. That's right.
Have there been productions since?
Yeah. There have been a few, not as many as I anticipated, but it's been a hard time for opera.
Yeah.
After John Brown, there was this tremendous. That was 2008, and that's when the big recession started. We've had what we've had now is going to take us a while to get over.
Yeah, definitely. And you've written another opera since, as I recall.
Pride and Prejudice.
You take on the really unknown titles, don't you, Kurt?
Yeah, nobody ever heard of Pride and Prejudice, but I'm hoping they might be curious.
Has it been performed yet, or is that still waiting?
It hasn't had its professional world premiere yet. It had a complete concert reading with a symphony orchestra and singers, and it had its first staging, but that was not a professional. That was they did a very nice job for students. It was at Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore.
Great.
But it's still waiting for its professional premiere.
Well, that's another one that we're going to look at when things clear up, when we're able to get back on stage live. And we've had great success and really enjoyed working on Tartuffe and the Rivals. And I should imagine that another Kirk Mechem opera is in our future, either one of the ones we've already done, or I know John Brown is mammoth, but Pride and Prejudice. That
would stretch the size of
our orchestra pit, if nothing else.
Right. Yeah.
But we've loved working on your operas, Kirk, and you're one of the nicest people I've ever met. I have to say. I say that to your face across the country.
You haven't met very many people, I guess.
It's true. It's true. Well, especially in the last year and a half, I've been kind of a shut-in. But it's always great to talk to you, Kirk. And thanks for giving us some of your time today. And we'll sure enough talk to you again soon.
Well, thanks. It's my pleasure, Ben. And I have a soft place in my heart for the Bronx Opera.
Thanks, Kirk. And we for you as well.
To come to anything that you do of mine.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Great, thanks. Have a great day, Kirk. And now back to the Rivals.
Jasper, old friend. What are you doing in Newport?
Horses, Baron, the racing sport. And unrequited love.
Yeah, you look a little out of sort. I got lady troubles too.
What's the lady's name?
Celia. She writes me lovely letters. She's young. She's rich.
So what's the hitch?
She's beautiful.
That's bad.
Terrifying. You know me, Jasper. I'm a respectable fortune hunter.
Yeah.
Her money for my title. Yeah.
Baron Celia. Here's to beautiful women.
Unless they're your wife, then they ruin your life. A beautiful wife needs beautiful clothes, want beautiful jewels to go with clothes. She gives beautiful balls so thousands can come to flatter your wife and to drink up your own. In your house, this beautiful face, your beautiful spouse, she knows how to waste that beautiful dowry you thought you'd been dead with a beautiful wife. Goodbye to the gate. These beautiful wives come beautiful men, or chasing your likeness a hungry yen. To be more than a friend, you know what I mean. You need spies, private eyes, for your beautiful queen. If your eyes I advise you strong as this hell, a beautiful wife is a sentence to hell. She'll ruin your sleep and then never come cheap. But what can I do? I'm in it too
Well, at least, Baron, I love you. I'm not so lucky. I ride all this way from Kentucky. They asked me to come to the place. I dress them swell, I ring the bell. They slam the door in my face. I have been very ill, you.
Ha! Such insult must not be excused. There's another man.
Yeah, fellow named Waverly.
Ha! You must take action. Your satisfaction. The traitorous wage of friendship.
Friendship? Quite the reverse. I've never even met the man.
That makes his crime even worse.
By golly, that's true. Baron, my anger rises up. I'm catching courage from you. I will be brave. I will be cruel.
Yeah! Challenge the man to a duel. Here.
Is that wise? Couldn't he just apologize?
For heaven's sake, your honor is at stake. Needs a man tonight.
Yeah, for my honor, I fight.
I ain't inviting the man to dinner.
All right, do enjoy me. I have a similar charm at hand. A certain captain has inserted mein Vaterland. Sterling! Jack, just the man I need. What's this? To Waverly? What does this mean? A mortal challenge, Jack. You seem to know this libertine. Will you deliver this? No trouble at all. But Jasper, I'm appalled. You are Vanderbilt. Jack, when you talk to this Waverly, tell him I'm real unsavory. A bloodthirsty freak kills a man every week. 2 a day, I reckon. Wait, Jack. Will you act as my second? Impossible, but I'll bring some brandy. Say they call me Violent Landy. A man of ruthless power kills a man every hour. Thank God, this lad is acting very odd.
Oh, Sir Anthony, you and your chests. Anyhow, pay your respects. I guess I'll just ignore the pests. And apologize for any incontinence.
What shall I do if she sees me? I'm through.
Don't just stand there like a
We don't need a chaperone. Leave us alone.
Now did your turn and cry? What's wrong with Auntie's eyes? Oh, what your eyes? She's just blind as a bat. Make me blush and shame. This one's the same. Selfish child, handsome
Come,
The jig is up.
now talk to the girl.
Father, I'm weak. I can't speak.
Jack! Come!
Would Miss Blackspur kindly lend an ear?
Jack, you dog! Stop croaking like a frog! Speak out!
If you're turnabout,
Surprise, Lydia. But don't show it.
that voice, I know it. It
That's it. End of the route.
Waverly, this is my sword, Sir Jack! Too much blood destroys the brain.
Wait a minute. How could Sir Anthony be the father of Waverly?
Jack, is this some trick of yours? Who the devil are you?
I demand a full expiration.
With deepest respect, I beg you, pardon this little caprice. How else could I ever expect to capture the heart of your beautiful niece?
Then you are Waverly.
Sad but true. But Lydia, I love you.
Jack, you're mad!
we have your aunt's approval.
I don't want her approval.
It's not so bad. A little wealth and comfort.
I hate wealth and comfort.
Lydia, please. We have what we wanted.
What you wanted. A trivial life of ease. It's now my duty to have you. So get up off your knees.
If I've lost your heart, you're perfectly free.
That kind of rot drives me wild. Free for what? You've treated me like a child.
I had no choice.
You got right on my seat. Laughing, I bet. How you're sweet as a pet. Why so easy to cheat?
Sweetheart, don't you see?
Don't sweetheart me. I think it will make it worse. And now I say, well, joke's on me. I've been the dupe of the nincompoop. How heartless can you be?
Lydia, listen, I swear.
Your picture. There. It's way. Not you.
And here's a picture of the real Lydia Oxford. His heart was always true. And see how different she is from you. This delicate blush,
What mush?
this heavenly brow.
He can't stop. Whoa.
It's all over now, and all you're doing, you don't care.
How dare you?
You're not being fair, Lydia. If you love me, you'd believe me. I tried to see your fantasy. Traitor, coward, Lydia, is this right? You don't have to shout.
I hate you, and I hate love.
Too late to apologize. insulted my mother. I'm late behind the casino. Sings a clown tonight. All right, I'll be there. We won't be alone. My friend Jasper has an affair at the same time there. Mein Kompliment, Captain.
What's that all about?
The bloodthirsty crowd wants to kill me tonight. That's all right. They'll just put me out of my misery. Lydia, she kicked me out. Discovered my lie.
Good Lord, what will you do?
With luck, I'll die. And you will be my second. What's wrong?
Julia kicked me out. I have to go see her. She sent me this note.
She should cut your throat. My dear Nicholas, as I'm sure you have already blamed yourself for a misunderstanding, I will not say another word. I want to see you as soon as I possibly can.
money. I'm broke. Are you sure?
I've loved you for years.
Really sure?
Is there wax in your ears?
Oh, Julia, no, I'm sure. Don't pass the final test.
Whatever you're talking about.
Gone is all I doubt.
Wait a minute. Was this all a trick?
No, the ultimate test. You burst it a door.
Well, you want it horribly. That's the last straw. You've done it once too often. Go rot in your very own coffin. What is it, Julia? Has Nick been cruel? You've been a fool again. This will pass. Thank God. Your lover's an ass, and mine's a fraud. Guess who he turns out to be? I've known you alone. Jack and me for friends. So everyone knew but me. Well, I don't care. I don't care. There's plenty more fish in the sea. Lydia, even a millionaire can be a decent man. You'd better mention why you vanished in Oh,
Now, Casper, in case of some mistake, what should I do? What arrangements for the body should I make? Arrangements for the body. There's a lovely cemetery here, very comfortable, and with a beautiful view. Baron, you're scaring me. I feel my courage. Aha! I hear them coming. Sharpen your blade. Baron, if you weren't with me, I might almost think I was afraid. Jack, am I glad to see you? Jasper, it's Waverly, you see. All right, Mr. Waverly, are you ready? Sir, are you not here to fight this Jasper?
I certainly am not.
That is very provoking. This we have come to fight, and you will spoil the party. That is very unpolite.
Bells, bells, I might as well.
Lucky surprise, Jasper! Defend your sacred word! That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. He's my friend. Draw your sword! yours of one who wrote this very lovely note. Good gracious!
And every word voracious. I hope you're not angry at being deceived.
Certainly not. Don't give it a thought. I couldn't be more relieved. So it's true. You'll forgive my wealth, that I won you by stealth.
I'll forgive you. But you forgive me. You suffered enough.
No more of that poverty stuff.
See, I